Hey everyone, welcome to Two Car Pros, and today's a really exciting day because I'm joined by my buddy Corey too.
Today we're going to be changing the oil in my 2012 Prius V, and if you've got a neighbor like Ryan here at Two Car Pros, it's always really nice to have somebody that can help you do stuff like this and make a collab video as well.
Exactly, so a link down below to his channel is located in the description and the pinned comment. So let's jump in. So what we're going to do first is kind of show you where we're going to work today. We're going to come underneath our car here, and this panel right here is the one we need to kind of flap down, and then we'll have access to the provisions to change the oil. So these body clips all come out essentially the same way. The middle bit comes down and then the whole body of the clip comes down. So I'm going to show you how to do one very closely. So you just need to get underneath it like that and pull the head of it off. Sometimes it'll be so weak that it will just kind of break or crumble, but you want it like that. That's what this tool is really nice to have. You can also use a standard screwdriver, but I'll leave a link down below in the description of one of these. And then you can just remove the entire clip and do that for all the clips holding these panels in place. So on our car, it looks like there's supposed to be a clip here, the one we removed here, and another one over here. Ours are just missing. We're gonna have to replace those, but we can just...
Only had the one.
You only had the one, so we'll just flap that down to expose the provisions for our oil changing stuff. So the next thing we can do is take a 14mm socket and remove our oil drain bolt. There we go. Most of the time you just have to break them loose, and then you can just go ahead and back it out and gracefully drop the drain plug. Awesome, we're just gonna let that drain out. So the next thing we're gonna do, or Corey's gonna do rather, is gonna clean off his drain plug with some carburetor spray. You can use brake clean too, it really doesn't matter. Just make sure it's kind of clean. It doesn't have to be NASA clean or anything, but good would be good. And then we can remove the washer that's on there. Sometimes they're a little stuck on, so you might have to get like a standard screwdriver, but this one fell off. This is like a standard crush washer. This is like the official Toyota one to use, but you can use whatever kind of washer you want. A copper washer, crush washer, or even the washer we have, which is pretty cool because they have a little rubber insert, so we can replace that washer. And now the bolt's ready to go back on the car. So the oil's more or less done draining. What we're gonna do next is clean the mating surface with some carburetor spray or brake clean. You don't need to spray it directly into the pan. You can, it doesn't do anything, but you know, you just want it clean enough so your new seal has the best chance as possible of sealing. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Now we're gonna replace the bolt. Then we can clean up our excess and tighten that down to specification. So now we can snug that down. We're gonna use a torque wrench here, and the official torque spec is 27. But if you don't have a torque wrench, that's fine too. Just, you know, somewhere between wrist tight and one arm tight. There we go, and that is perfect. So now Corey's gonna put on our special tool. It's like an oil filter cap, and it might not fit quite right the first time, so you might need to pick it up and rotate it slightly because there's slots and grooves, and you might not have nailed it the first time. Yeah?
Let me see.
There we go. Well, probably because the groove was a little offset. So on the top, there's 3 grooves, 1, 2, 3. And on the bottom, there's 1. So the top one has to be lined up on all 3 like that in order for it to go all the way down.
I almost had it.
You were really close.
I was pretty close.
No, you were really close.
This is why you have Two Car Pros.
That's right. So now we can grab a 1/2" drive ratchet, put it in the tool, and then we might need to loosen this clip off. Sometimes that interferes with it. So let's go ahead and try to remove that. It's tight, huh? These things can be on pretty good and sticky, so maybe hit the flange surface with some WD-40. And you might notice he got to the point where it's a little hard to turn. That would be this clip interfering with that. So you can either just power through it like he did, or you can use a standard screwdriver to kind of pry it out of the way while you turn. There's 2 ways to do it. Make sure you have your catch pan ready because it will start leaking oil. Like that. Perfect. And then once it's free, you can just remove the entire housing. There we go. And remove that guy. Woo! That was more oil than I thought. Awesome. We're just gonna let that drain out. We're gonna take the filter assembly over to our workbench. So now what we can do is disassemble our filter and material. So you just pull that out just like that. Keep going. There you go. Doesn't look like it's directional, so that's cool. Set that aside. Then we need to take our O-ring off of our housing. And you can use a little hook tool or maybe your fingernails. It's not super hard to get that off there.
Apparently it is. Get under there. My fingernails would probably be better. Apparently not.
Apparently not.
I'm not a two-car pro. Get in. Nope.
Here, let me see.
You know what? That was... that was me, actually.
You loosened it.
I made it easier for him.
You did. I'm impressed. So we can take our new filter, and I do recommend getting the nice Toyota one. They're not very expensive, and
$6.
The engines are expensive, so take that out, take the filter material out, and then what we're gonna do is put the O-ring on first. And you can just put that in the housing. You usually just roll it on. It's really easy. So with this, you want to make sure that it's a little hard to see because it's a black O-ring on a black housing, but you want to make sure that this O-ring is seated into this groove. Sometimes it's easy to leave them on the threads, which you don't want. You want it looking just like this. That's very, very good. And we can just put the filter material in there, all the way down like that until it clicks. But before we put it in the car, we need to lubricate that O-ring. So then we need to lubricate our O-ring. So just put a dab of engine oil, WD-40, some sort of lubricant on the O-ring and wipe it all the way around it. You never want to put an O-ring on dry because it has a propensity to either tear or stick or do something you really don't want. Yeah, that's perfect. Now this thing's ready to go back on the car. So the next thing we're going to do before we replace the housing is clean it off, the whole thing with some carburetor spray. And don't be shy, just hose her down. It doesn't hurt the engine or anything. Make sure you get on this shoulder right here. That's actually where the O-ring sits, and that's what does the sealing work. So just hose that down with carburetor spray, brake clean, and then grab a terry towel and just clean it up. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Now we're ready for our housing. Now when you're replacing the housing, make sure you don't cross-thread it. It's really easy to do because it's plastic threads into a metal body. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that's going on nice and smooth. If it's not going on nice and easy like it is for Corey here, then take it back off and readjust the threads until it does.
Actually, it's not. It's kind of crooked.
Well, readjust it. That's better. So then we can grab our torque implement and put it on there and set it to 18 foot-pounds or 25 newton-meters. If you don't have a torque wrench, that is completely acceptable. You know, just one arm tight's probably sufficient. It doesn't need to be anything completely scientific. You just don't want to crack the housing or anything like that. Keep going, you're almost there. The clip is going to want to fight you, so you might want to grab a standard screwdriver and just kind of pry it out of the way. A little bit. There you go, go ahead.
Uh-oh.
That's okay. We're good. Go ahead. Up. Do it again. Okay, there you go. 18 foot-pounds. It's all nice and tight. And we can remove our housing here. So go ahead and remove our filter tool. There you go. And then what we can do, and this is a personal preference, but it prevents what I call false drippies, is we're just going to clean that mating surface or the outside of the housings. That way, you know, if we see some drips in the driveway, that's no fun, right? I want to make sure we don't see that, so a false drippy would be a real bummer because it might think that it's leaking when it's really not. So we'll go ahead and flap up our access service port, and I have this new body clip, and I'm going to do my best to put the link down below in the description for it because you want the housing to fit snug but not super tight, and then when you push the middle in, then it won't fall back down. And then we need to replace the other clip that's here, and there's another one over there. So there are a couple more to go. This one's there. It's a little smaller. Yeah, there we go. Nice. These body clips you can just get on Amazon. They're not super expensive, but they are super handy. Perfection. So now we're topside on the car. We can remove our oil cap. It has our viscosity rating on it, 0W20. That's what we're going to be using today. 0W20 full synthetic. Go ahead and place a funnel on our valve cover if it's going to fit, which it's not. So we're going to place our funnel in. It might not want to stay, so you might have to hold it while you're pouring. And we're going to put in 4.4 quarts because that's the capacity when you change it with the filter. So we can remove our funnel and replace our cap once our 4.4 quarts are in. And I definitely recommend changing the filter along with your engine oil. Don't just run the same filter. That's nasty. Your engine's not going to like that. So the next thing we're going to do is start the car and let it run for like 40 seconds. Quite. And we're just going to look, we're going to look for leaks, and we want the engine to circulate its oil supply. So it fills the filter housing. maybe a minute to let the oil kind of drip down back into the pan. We want to get a nice accurate oil reading. Now we can grab our dipstick, pull that up, clean it off fully, and put it all the way back down into the bottom of the pan. Oh yeah, looks really nice. So on the dipstick, you will see the level kind of close to this dot. That's where you want it. It's like right there, so we could actually probably get away with putting in a teensy bit more, but on the back side, it's like perfect. So yeah, we're right in the neighborhood. That looks really, really nice. So just put 4.4 quarts in it.
We're gonna go ahead and reset the maintenance light. If we turn the car on, you guys will see, once we get the other warning lights to go away, the maintenance required light is still on. That light is to tell you that it's time to change your oil. So what we're gonna do to start is put that into trip A there. The odometer is in trip A now. Turn the car back off. Hold the kilometer per hour button here next to the hazard lights. Click this twice and you'll see that it's beeping. 4, 3, 2, 1. And now the maintenance required light is off. And it's reset. In a few thousand miles it will come back on to remind me to change my oil.
So that is how to replace the engine oil and filter on your 2012 Toyota Prius V. It's really simple. This is something you could totally do in your driveway, at home. Very basic tools, and everything we use, links are located down below in the description, and you're also saving a ton of money, not to mention making sure the job's done correctly so your engine will last and last and last and last. If you found this video helpful at all, please consider liking or subscribing. It really helps my channel out. If you're interested in my buddy Corey here, links down below, of course, like I said earlier, and
Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.